So, hello everybody! Oh, that's more like the creative folk, I know. Very good. So you're very welcome to the first ever Spark session we have here in Cloud9, our dedicated creativity and innovation space here in EMEA. So yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Great. What a remarkable company we work for. We get to drink beer and eat food and listen to some of the greatest artists in the world, all on an evening where we can join together collectively, communally and collaboratively. I love it. So great. So just to let you know, tonight is going to be a really special event. I'm really excited about our guest. He's an artist who's really been on a remarkable journey. I'm just going to pull out a quote for you, actually, just for a second. He's been on a remarkable journey, and it's just a really interesting story he has to tell about creativity, about the art of being creative, the fear that comes with being creative, the beauty of it, all that. So we're going to go through all of that. We're going to hear some of his story. We're going to hear him play some of his music tonight. We're also going to sing and write a song together. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah! Hell yeah! I hear some songwriters in the room. All right, that's great. So we're going to do that together. This night only works if we're all in this together. This is an experience we share. This is an experience where we come out beaming going, I feel good. Creativity sparks my brain. This is a spark session. So I'm really happy to have you all here for that. So before I just introduce, I want to share you this quote because this, I think, really tells an amazing story about this artist and the kind of artist we're about to listen to and speak with. So some of you may be familiar with a man called Ed Sheeran, only one of the finest songwriters and most well known in the world. He said this in a BBC interview about Gary, who we're about to hear. He said, the reason I use a loop pedal, we'll hear all about loop pedals in a minute, so the reason I use a loop pedal now is because I saw a guy called Gary Dunne use a loop pedal. I was 14 and I was just blown away. I was like, this is incredible. I need to get one of those pedals. So I did. And I made friends with Gary and he taught me how to use it. And that was the gig that started me off on the whole loop pedal journey. That is an amazing thing to say about the artist you're about to hear. He's going to start us off with a tune. I want you to give him a massive, googly, loving, creative roar. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gary Dunne!
I've got a little bit of setup to do here, so.
Will I keep talking?
It's cool. No, it's cool.
Okay.
How is everyone? First time in Google. Good vibes. Good vibes in Google. Yeah. Spot the boss. Take me home, she turns and says to me, and I just need someone that I can talk to. Is that you? I believe that when we die, she says, we fly away and never ever come down. And I said, calm down, calm down. And I know that you know it's dangerous. And I know that you know it's dangerous. stressful day, she says. I think it must be something that happened in my childhood, and it's not good. We can go under the stars, she says. Let's do things that we've only ever dreamed of. It seems wrong, but it's not. And I know that you know it's dangerous. Are we singers, Google? And I know that you know. Come on, warm it up. It's dangerous. Everybody, come on, break it down. And I know, beautiful, that you know it's dangerous. Keep it rolling. And I know that you know it's dangerous. Beautiful. Finish together a couple of times. I know. 3. And I know that you know it's dangerous. I know that you know it's dangerous. Thank you, Google. Beautiful.
Thank you, Gary Dunne. Thanks for being here. I am intrigued by the loop pedal and all that it brings. Maybe can we start by you just talking us through what on earth you're doing there? Oh, sorry. Give you a second. Take a seat and tell us how does this mad machine work, and how does it actually even feed your creativity, for that matter? I started with a really hard question.
Yeah. I'm shifting gears as well from playing to talking about playing.
Yeah. Sorry.
This thing is called a live looper. And the way it works is that I press a button and it records whatever sound. That mic is making a funny sound, talking about sound. It records whatever sound is plugged into it. So, oh, there you go, fridge. So, I press the button, play guitar, press the button again, and it loops, which means that it plays on repeat.
And you can lay and then layer on top of it.
Yeah.
The thing goes on top.
Yeah, so then you can press it again, so you can put down, that loops, press it again, and build a track.
So we know Ed was impressed with it. How did you get into loop stations? I can't imagine there was a lot of people using loop pedals back when you were starting out.
Not that old, Kelly.
No, I mean you're as old as I am, so I guess that's probably very young.
I got into loop stations. I was doing a gig in Cork with an American songwriter called Joseph Arthur. Has anyone heard of Joseph Arthur?
He's great.
Fucking legend.
Yeah.
And the venue, the lobby, which is a beautiful, I don't know if it's still there, it's a beautiful room over an old pub in Cork. And a little small room, about the size of this many people, kind of, I don't know, 30, 40 people. And I was booked by the venue to play, and I rocked up and I was booked to open for Joseph Arthur. And at the time, I was doing the kind of standard Dublin singer-songwriter thing. There's a certain sound, and I was very much in that sound. Rocked up to do my gig, and Joseph was Joe, as I call him now. Joseph Arthur was sound checking, and I just went, what is going on here? He not only had a live looper, which is a whole creative performance tool in itself. He also, I'm emotional talking about this. He had loads of effects pedals as well. So my setup is just an acoustic guitar and a mic going into that thing. So I can record whatever I do to them and then make it into kind of soundscapes. He had these going into all kinds of special filters and things. So he was creating these insane soundscapes. And just blew me away. And the next week I was straight into Music Maker in Dublin. Get me a loop station.
Give me the finest loop station you
And
have.
Damien Rice was opening on the same tour, and I met him in Whelan's a couple of weeks after, and we bought a loop station. Where did you get your loop station?
Where did you get inspired to do anything like that?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, listen, let's take it back just a bit, because I'm curious always, and we're talking about the sort of the creative process, and you and I had sort of chatted a bit over email before this, but even just growing up, I know you're from Laois, just down the road, and your family life was quite artistic, wasn't it? Like that was a part of your life. So this must have informed the way you thought about the world creatively and artistically as well.
Yeah. My parents are both artists, so it wouldn't have been the conventional small town Ireland upbringing. My dad is a novelist and a playwright and a music producer, and my mother is a poet and a ukulele player.
Interesting
So
combo.
my two kids have a ukulele playing granny, which is great crack. But so I grew up with madness, creative chaotic madness. You know, my dad set up the Laois Arts Festival, which is a big deal at the time, and I grew up, I suppose, in a world where creativity was default, was just constant. I have to go to my room and write a book. I have to go to my room and write a song, and that was just the culture. You know, that the culture was just constant creativity, gigs. There were lots of musos and artists in our life when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was always supported, you know. So when I started playing keys, the Bontempi keyboard, when I was 5 or 6, my first gig, the Irish people will know this, what I'm talking about here. My first gig was my first confession, which was, we all grew up Catholic in Ireland. A lot of us grew up Catholic in Ireland, and they do this funny thing to kids where you have to get up and confess shit when you're 6 or something. All the kids stand there confused, going, I stole 10 cents from whatever. So my first gig was playing Amazing Grace on a Bontempi keyboard.
In the confession box?
On the stage, man.
That is the weirdest confession I've ever heard. The priest is like, 5 Hail Marys for that?
Confession. This song.
Check this out, I wrote this, I'm really sorry. That's amazing. But obviously, you moved on from that into guitar. Like, I know, you took a journey, obviously, where there was actually a pretty thriving songwriter scene going on in Dublin. When then later, when you actually started playing more formally out in gigs and stuff. Tell us maybe just even for people to get a sense of that vibe of like, where was the sort of the locus for that? I know that there was sort of very specific gigs where people would go, and kind of the people who were playing, and what were you taking from that, even just creatively seeing other people working in that environment as well?
Ireland creates amazing singer-songwriters. It's something we do really well, and I'm not arrogant enough to put myself in that box, but we do. It's something, from Glenn Hansard, Damien Rice, Van Morrison, I could go on and on, Sinead O'Connor, Damien Dempsey, I could go on and on and on. That bardic thing is in our culture. So when I moved to Dublin from Portlaoise, when I was 17, I went straight into the singer-songwriter scene. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Dublin singer-songwriter scene is legendary, and it was like the Lobby Bar in Cork. It was small rooms where people knew they were coming out on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday to listen. And that is the magic, it's the listening. Because even here, when I'm talking and we're kind of meeting somewhere in the middle, and when an audience does that, it can make or break the gig. So these were small little gigs run by great people like Dave Murphy, Ken Burke, who just went to boozers and said, can we have the upstairs room on a Tuesday night? Yeah. What's going to happen? Well, 50 people are going to come and buy a few pints and listen to music, and it's going to be cool. And for me, I suppose, as a formative performer back then, it was just incredible to be sitting in these rooms listening to heroes completely unplugged. Like the raw, pure, essential stuff. No mics, completely unplugged. So, people like Damien Rice were playing to 10 people there. And it was just electric.
Do you remember the first one, first gig you played in that scenario? Or do you remember the fear of actually getting up and playing a song in front of people?
Are we going to go there, Colin?
Yeah, I think we should go there.
Fear, man, fear. The honest answer is the first time I went to play, I didn't play because I was too scared. Right. And that's, you laugh, it's the truth. I went to the International Bar on Wicklow Street, and that was I kind of came to the tail end of the scene, so there were kind of songwriters who had come through that scene for the previous five to 10 years, and some of them had done really well. People like Mundy had signed to Sony and was off touring with Neil Young and was on the Romeo and Juliet soundtrack, and so there were big names. It was a buzzy scene, and I came to that late. But my heroes were still around, so I went in, and it's funny. Damien Dempsey, who through other work has become a good friend of mine. He was there, and I saw him at the bar, and I went straight into panic. I went, I can't get up and sing if he's here. And so my first gig, I didn't play there. Wow. And I had gigged a lot, I started right back to Amazing Grace at my first confession. I was always performing, but I just was totally paralysed by the presence of these heroes. Yeah. So I didn't play my first gig, and in the first one it was rubbish. But it was essential. That's the word that kind of fits it best for me. Essential. The core idea, the core song. No polished production, no dressing. It's like the idea, the song, the message. And that had a huge impact on me. Huge impact on me, because I haven't thought about this before. Yeah. I haven't kind of reflected on this. It had a huge impact on me in the sense that, especially with singer-songwriters, it's either there or it's not. Like, you gotta say that in business as well. It's either there or it's not. You can bring in as many consultants, as many rebrands, as many kind of revisiting the project and blah, blah, blah. If it's not there, it's not there. And the same is true in the world I know best, which is music. And if you can throw a big, slick session band behind someone, you can put them on stage at Wembley. If there's no song, there's no song. There you go.
Yeah. I think also just even it's funny you talk about like the purity of the song. Isn't there a whole school of thought with producers when they make a record, like the best thing to do is sit in the car and listen to it on a shitty stereo in the car on a tape, because if the song is there, you should be able to hear it rather than just having all the hullabaloo around it as well, you know.
And the car speakers for me now have become the phone speakers. Because most of us, you know, hands up who listens to music on their laptop speakers. Why? You know, we're listening, even MP3s, we're listening to crap quality music. You know, we are, unless you're going into WAVs and lossless thingies. And I'm sure there are techies here going, this guy does not know what he's talking about. But I've really noticed, like when I go back to my parents' house, listening to an album in my childhood home was like a ritual. I will come back to your question, Karl.
Yeah, you're right.
Listening to it was like good food. It was like our culture. When the album was bought, it was like it's like making a coffee in the morning, straight onto the vinyl. I can hear the little click. I can smell the whole thing. It was a multi-sensory experience, and on it went. My dad has these big vintage speakers, and it was like, shut up, we are listening to the album. You know, compared to, I won't go off on a whole tangent about the disposable nature of music now, but it really has. It's, you know, we're interested in a song for 4 days, and then it's like,
what's next?
Disposable everything.
Yeah.
Back then, like an album doesn't really mean anything anymore.
It's kind
It's
of
all
dead,
songs.
isn't it?
It's all songs. Song, YouTube, millions of views, the next song. But the idea of album as a body of work,
Well,
that's kind of faded away.
even talking about that, like, so obviously you moved from that to go and record your first album. And was that the shift over to London at that point, or did you record the album here in Ireland, your first one?
Before my first album, so I was living in Dublin, and I recorded my first EP, which was done in a bedroom in the North Circular Road, up near Phoenix Park. And one of the tracks from it was selected to be on this Best of UK Unsigned thing, which brought me over to the UK. And so the album actually wasn't until much later. I moved to London first, hit the scene there, and then came back to the west of Ireland to record the album.
Yeah, okay. And even just give us a sense of that. Maybe we'll ask you maybe to play another song in a second, but I just wanted to understand that transition from the fear of not being able to play a song in front of Damien Dempsey to going and gigging in fairly sizable venues across London and like getting your chops and getting out there and getting the songs up and going. Like, what was that as an artist? Like, you're obviously, you know, there's all the things that go with any job, which is like, how am I going to make a living? How am I going to actually do my job well? All of that, like, it's a craft that you're honing, you know, and the creativity is coursing through you, but you're trying to channel it. Like, tell us a little bit about that journey from the transition of going, right, I'm going to London now, you know, and I'm gonna do this thing. That's a big moment, surely.
Yeah, I don't. It wasn't that conscious at the time.
Right.
To be honest with you, it was. I think a lot of people's early 20s are a bit unconscious. In the sense of doing things in a considered way. We just kind of do things. What I did, I just kind of did things. So, what was it like? I moved to London when I was, I think, 21, and I decided on a Friday. I moved on the Monday, and arrived in London, backpack, guitar, cliche, total walking bohemian cliche. I arrived in the big city, bag on my back, guitar, and it was electrifying. You know, it was a different vibe. It was a different. When you grow up somewhere like Ireland, where everybody knows everybody, or knows what, you know, you're kind of 1 degree of separation, to move to this city where essentially no one, doesn't matter, no one cares who you are, no one cares what you do, and that's a good and a bad thing, because it really shakes you up to think about who you are, because all your old cultural norms and your interconnections and your reference points are all gone. You find yourself in this mix with the whole world. So that was kind of the personal journey. It was like realizing, okay, here, things that people don't know what people knew in Ireland, things that were important aren't important. It's just this big flow of stuff. And So that was the kind of personal thing. And then creatively, making a living as a musician, I busked on the tube for 2 years. And that was a learning experience. You know, I used to, you just become like a musical prostitute. You're kind of, you're in Piccadilly Circus and a gang of guys, kind of football fans walking on, you go, oh, you know, Wonderwall will work here. Today was going to be the day that I'd go, whoa! I'd show you loads of money. And it's the same thing, you know, kind of, yeah, but a prostitute, musical jukebox. But it was, you talk about chops, that was heavy. It was, you know, I used to play down around Leicester Square for Pride, down in Soho. So obviously loads and loads of drag queens and loads of that whole vibe. And I just had to play I Will Survive over and over again. And I didn't even know the song, I just do the kind of first verse and chorus. And
that's enough.
so everybody was on their buzz, and it was lovely, this big colourful London, millions of people. And me here, this confused little Irish dude, trying to make 100 quid, you know, to pay some rent for a shithole in Kentish Town. Just go, first I was afraid, and then I'll go, I was better. So my early time in London, it was good crack.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll take a breather just for a song, because I want to talk to you a little bit about your more recent times in London and sort of the community that you've built over there and been a part of. But one of the first songs I actually heard you play was the American folk song, which I absolutely adore, and I wonder if you'd maybe play that for us. And it's also a great example of the loop stuff as well.
Yeah, sure.
Is that cool? Great.
Need to make this seamless transition.
Yeah.
First I was afraid of. Where have I put my pink Kelly?
Oh, put it in your back pocket. Yeah.
Gotta know your enemy, gotta check your sedative, slip away like a memory, chicka boom boom, chicka boom. Gotta know your enemy, gotta never ever let go, gotta get 'em from the get-go, chicka, 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 really, really, really high tonight. Really, really, really high tonight. Gotta know your enemy, because I'm not political. And if I sound political, chicka, chicka, chicka. Gotta know your enemy, you gotta get 'em in the background, gotta get 'em in the playground. Chicka, 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 really, really, really high tonight. Really, really, really high tonight. I could go on with this all night. I'm not going to.
Gary Dunne!
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Let's transition back to talking, Gary, if you'd like, seamlessly. That was absolutely amazing, and it's always a marvel to watch you work. So I did want to ask you a couple of questions, and then we will get into the business of creating a piece of art together, I think, which is another big part of what tonight's about. But I did want to ask you before we do that, just, we talked a lot about, like, you sort of said as you were thinking about tonight, about talking about your creative path, but also that it all connects back also to community. And I know that's a huge part of who you are and what you do. So maybe just to give folks a sense here, maybe just the transition from making your music, all of that time that you did that, to the point where you sort of tapered away, but that energy has gone into sort of a community work that you do now, and tell us a bit about the London Irish scene as well, and where that's gone, because I think that's a fascinating part of your creative story.
Okay, there's a few bits to that.
Yeah, of course there is. Let me just sum up half of your life. Like
okay,
that.
well, when Kelly asked me to come and talk here tonight, it was interesting to think about. It was kind of forced me to reflect on and to try and articulate what I think about creativity, and it's not something I've ever done before. I kind of have just been in the flow all the time. So that's kind of one part of it, and then to do that, and thinking about my own kind of story, I went back, looked back over kind of 15, 20 years of doing creative stuff, and
It's the international symbol for creative stuff.
Or that, yeah. And I've had, a portfolio career. I've had a mixed bag of stuff, and with the constant threads through the whole thing, which were screaming at me when I looked back over the thing, were creativity and community. And those two things, for me, are completely interwoven. Because, people love making things. Hands up here who would like more creativity in their life. Go. Felt a bit Oprah, didn't it? Who wants to talk about it?
And there's a bit of creativity for everyone in the audience.
And I'm gonna get up, now that I've got that license, I'm getting up on my soapbox. This is what I think about creativity. But it's, I will come back to what you've asked me, but it's an improvised nature of things.
I like where you're going with this, Gary.
Creativity, I believe, based on my own creative practice, with absolutely no theoretical kind of neuroscience stuff, that creativity is a fundamental part of humanity. I think part of why we're here is to create. Now you can expand that out and talk about your life and go, every moment that passes, you are creating your life. Your greatest creative act is your life. Are you going to stay working in Google? Are you going to move home to Paris and do this? Are you going to set up? Are you going to leave your job and open the cafe? Are you going to buy that top? Are you going to raise your kids this way? We're in constant self-creation. And it's so anything that I've been involved in has been around that energy. That when I was a 12-year-old and I was a member of our local tennis club, that's tennis, Callie, that's creativity.
Creativity?
That's
Tennis. Have we got that? We're good. Okay.
And when I was, local tennis club, small town tennis club, crap at tennis I was, but it was where everyone hung out, and there was a room, a space like half the size of this, and my instinctive thing was, we have got to run gigs here. And I guess that creativity is seeing what doesn't exist and feeling compelled to make it. And that's what I have always done. And it only happens in community. Calais and whoever else was involved, and I don't know who else is involved, in making tonight happen, has or had a vision for what this thing could be. And I love that vision. how I understand that vision of coming together to talk communally, to talk creativity and spark off each other. And that's what I've always done. And the two are completely interwoven. Community, creativity. People come together, they make things. People want to make things. Making better things, making things better. In communion, in community. And it's completely interwoven, you know? A song doesn't fully exist until you sing it to people. Yeah. If a tree falls, etc. But I mean, when I'm at home writing my tracks in the bedroom, blah 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 blah, banging out a song, oh, killer, it's done. I do not know that song until I stand up here and sing it for you. And then I go, oh God, it's crap.
Or it's crap that night.
Or it's crap that night, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Inner connection.
Yeah.
You know, for me, the function of art, for me, if we're going to branch out culture, creativity, culture, art, the function of art, for me, is to connect it to ourselves and to each other. You know, if you're going to see a movie with people, it's kind of part about the movie, but it's more about art as social object, and the connection that you have with the people you're watching the film, you're experiencing this. The artist made it, had a certain vision, you're connecting in that vision. So there's that constant communion, the communion part of community. And that is what I'm about, creativity and community. I think you're a bit like that as well.
Yeah, certainly, and absolutely. And I think even just when I think about your story, even just when you talked about how you kind of took a break from gigging and that sort of stuff, but that creative spark, that communion spark, that idea of bringing people together in the service of like an artistic idea or a creative idea, I think is a huge part of the work you've done at the London Irish Centre, and also the St. Paddy's Day thing. I mean, that's a colossal community of people that you're connecting. Just even give people a sense of kind of what that work is that you do now. You know, I think that's really interesting too.
Yeah, well, I do. I'm Director of Arts at the London Irish Centre. The London Irish Centre is a charity and an old building in North London. It was set up in the 1950s for a huge wave of Irish that moved here when Ireland was in deep recession, post-World War World War II Britain. Hundreds of thousands of Irish moved from here to the UK. And this place was set up to give them basically a bed and a job. So it kind of does two things. It looks after people and it kind of brings them together. And about 6 or 7 years ago, I was living in Camden Town, which is historically quite an Irish area. And I realised one day that all the homeless guys on the street were Irish. And I had moved to London I'd left in the Celtic Tiger. I grew up kind of European Irish, you know, and I had left. I moved to London. I moved into kind of an international mix, and my wife is Swedish, and I was kind of in that global mix, and the whole. I very much felt like I'm in London, and I've kind of not left Ireland behind, but I'm not there anymore, and. As I said, one day I realised there were 6 or 7 dudes from here to the tube station, which is probably a 50-minute walk, and I realised that they were all Irish. And I was thinking, what is going on here? You know, if you're not Irish, think if you're Spanish, if you're whatever, you know, Slovakian, if you go to a global city and you realise that all the people on the street are your compatriots, it was a bit of a kind of what? So I Googled, there you go. And I Lycos, I think at the time, right? I Alta Vista. I Googled Irish homeless Londoner. I was genuinely like, what the? And coincidentally, this place, London Irish Centre, came up, and got involved there as a volunteer. And this is where the creativity and the community interplay. So I signed up as a volunteer to begin with, which basically means you're going visiting quite broken, socially isolated, a lot of mental health issues, older Irish in London nursing homes and old flats, and I ran a kind of soup kitchen for homeless Irish in London. And me being me, like week 2, I had them blogging and kind of, you know, singing songs of their childhood. To me, that community aspect the creativity needs the community, and the community needs the creativity. That's why when we come together we sing. That's why when we come together we talk about books we've read. And that's why when we go to festivals, we something in us resonates much more deeply. That happens for me anyway. Not if you've felt this.
Yes.
You go to a festival, you go to Glastonbury, you go to an Electric Picnic, you go, wow, I need to think about shit. Because we're there, and it's the communion. That's what the art and the culture and the creativity is for, to bring us together, to connect us to ourselves, and to connect. Exactly what we're doing now. A bunch of people in a room connecting through, culture and creativity. So, long story short, I started doing a project called Creatives with them.
You saw a room and said, I need to put a gig in there.
Well, yeah, it was a bit of that. It was more I saw people and I wanted their story, actually. It was more like, I can perceive you as 75-year-old socially isolated guy from Derry, or you can
Tell me your story.
Yeah. It was heavy stuff. And that evolved into being cultural officer and then director of arts. And there's this beautiful cultural regeneration happening at the London Irish Centre at the moment. Dermot O'Leary, the X Factor judge, has come on board as a patron. All the big musos, like from Martin Hayes, Glenn Hansard, all the Sharon Shannon, all the big Irish musicians play there. We've got kind of 75,000 people plugged into our social media, which is big for a specific community in one city. And it's cultural regeneration. It's coming into something that has a little bit lost its way, and it's not my doing. I was part of the spark. Yeah. But there's a team of people. There's a case of alignment, a bunch of people, and it's booming at the moment. And then separately to that work, I'm creative programmer of the London St. Patrick's Festival, which is a concert that happens in Trafalgar Square every year.
Big gig.
It's a big gig, yeah. And then it's parade through London, 100,000 people. And then we do events all across London as well. We've had, River Dance, and Lord of the Dance, and all. We've had Once the musical. Everyone who's anyone has played it, and it's amazing. But it's the same underpinning principle of
bring them together.
Community.
Yeah, absolutely. And for any of you who do travel to London, I strongly recommend going to the London Irish Centre. Gary's been extremely humble. He has brought a huge amount of art and brought a real focus on the Irish arts again. We're in a golden age again for spoken word and music, and a lot of it is channeled through there. So a bulla bus for that. I really respect that a huge amount. Just one last thing before we actually get crack on and make a song here with these folks. I just wanted to ask you one thing, and it's something that actually is a topic we talk about at Google a fair bit around well-being and mental health. I know that you've trained quite deeply with the mindfulness stuff, and I know it's something that you're really passionate about. I know we said we'd go face the fear, and this is something I think people are afraid to talk about sometimes, is mental health. Tell us about just that, if you can. I know it's hard to sum up in a short way, but that transition to why is that important to you, or like where does that spring come from, and what is it doing for your creativity, even for that matter,
It's a big question, Karl.
I know, but I only ask the big ones, Gary. That's all I do.
Look, the honest answer here. There are a few pieces to this. Firstly, I don't sign up for the tortured artist archetype. Suffering for my art, and I'm an artist, so I can be a prick. Being an artist is difficult. So is being, whatever your role is in Google at times. So is being a surgeon. So is being a plumber. So is being a nurse with people who are terminally ill. Being an artist is not magic. It's a thing you do. You make things. So my point there is that the healthier I am, the more creative I am. I used to sign up for that troubled thing, kind of treat people like crap because I'm an artist. I'm working on my album. I'm in a bad space. We all, whether it's a startup or it's you've a new boss starts here and things start falling apart for you. Work is a part of our life, and it can be difficult, and you have to navigate that. And my work is art and creativity. So I'm just going to put it out there, Callie, because I said I would.
Put it out there, man.
mindfulness is a huge part of my life, and that came from, I was recording my second album about, I don't know, a few years ago, and I started having panic attacks, and there was stuff going on in my personal life as well, but I started having like full-on panic attacks. And I'd always been a kind of anxious soul. You find a lot of creative people, if sensitivity helps if you're creative, it's the whole empathy thing, being tuned into where people are at. And so I've always been that kind of slightly nervy, sensitive, creative type. And wow, what's that?
I'd have to take the bread out of the oven.
There you go. Saved by the bell. Creativity's great, people.
We're all fine. We're fine now. Sorry for that interruption, Gary. Go for it.
Yeah, so I was doing an album, and I started having panic attacks. And for anyone who's ever had panic attacks, it's fucking hell. You think you're going to die. And I went to my GP, and she said medication or meditation. And a wise old Jewish woman in North London, medication or meditation? And I said, meditation, please. And she signed me up for a mindfulness course. And I don't want to use words that are as tired as it changed my life, but it did. And the whole self-care, self-awareness, kindness, compassion, gratitude, fundamentals, and it's a fundamental thing in my life. I couldn't be here tonight. Sorry if this is going to mess with that recording, but otherwise it's going to hit my knee. I was shitting myself before today. Absolutely crapping myself with nerves. Meditated, grand. Yeah. And any meditators in the room? Any mindfulness heads? Lovely. And secular meditation is my trip, and it's the self-care piece. You can work and worry and waste your life away through creating disaster things in your head, or you can learn through practice how to be present, and it's helped me. Yeah. It's changed my life. It's helped me massively. It has made everything better. And it's a key. I couldn't create. It's the self-care piece of committing your life to creativity, because creativity is scary, because it creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is scary. And my whole life is that. Other than my kids and my wife and other things, but my working life is all about creating the unknown, uncertainty, fear, boom. So I need that.
Well, thanks a million for sharing that, Gary. It is something that I try and make part of my life as well. So in the spirit of uncertainty and fear and facing shit that's difficult, what do you say we try and write a song here? And maybe just to kick things off, will you and I just show what we're going to do, and then we'll gradually pull people up and maybe write some kind of a song? Does that sound like a good plan? Is everyone on board with that?
We can try.
Yes? All right. Okay, so maybe... what's the best thing? Would you want to give me a beat, and I'll shout something in a microphone, and that'll be a starting point, and then maybe somebody else can come up and sing a melody line. And listen, we're all about facing these fears. It's not going to be easy to come up here on a microphone, but you should face that fear because it's going to be good. And also, failure is fine. In fact, failure is just actually acceptable. We can also stop the loop at any time, right? Go, let's start again.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, we can. All right.
But this is it. It's the fear thing. How many people here would feel comfortable standing up and singing a song? Great. That's a high. It's a good Google culture going on there. Strong people. You ask that in another place, like what?
They actually leave at that point. Say that he's going to ask me. It's like school, right? Yeah. No, I'm absolutely with you, Gary. I think. It's like you said, it's one thing having written a song and putting it out in the world, or written a poem, or whatever it is that we do, our creative selves. But like the act of creating in the moment collectively, that's a whole other level, because it's actually, anything can happen, right? But that's also the best bit. Anything can happen, right?
You can't be looking at each other going, what are we actually going to make?
Fuck it. Give me a beat and we'll see where we go, and let's see what happens. And then we'll do one that's maybe a bit more structured after this. How about that?
This is simply to illustrate the process of what we're going to do together.
This is where we get it horribly wrong, and then we try and do it horribly right.
So we're doing nothing now. We're making excuses.
Oh yeah, you're right.
We are qualifying. This music is going to change your life, motherfuckers.
It's going to be the best song you ever heard, except for the next one, which we all know.
Why am I not getting that? What's going on there?
Oh, there you are.
Maybe that kind of a groove.
Yeah.
With an M&M kind of 8.
Yeah, okay, let's try it.
I'll tell you when. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now. I'm not saying it's going to be great. I'm saying it's going to be now. Do we try that again?
I missed it. I didn't get it.
You missed it.
2, 3, 4.
Now.
It's really good, isn't it?
Now. We can keep that loop as well if we want. Now. Okay, we're going again. Knock it down, baby. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wanna hear your song. I wanna hear your song. I wanna hear your song.
What's next?
Does anybody want to?
I know about a part.
I wanna hear your song.
Me too.
I wanna hear your song. Carry the count, James.
2,
I wanna hear your song.
2, 3, 2.
I wanna hear your song. I wanna hear your song. The activity is happening right now, people. It's magic. Can you feel it? Would anybody else like to join in? Try one more. Give us another line. Who's in? Come on. You can't be that shy. We're going to have to get a song
Come on.
together. Here we go, boys. It's coming to the mic. Count you.
3, 4. Shit's getting dark. It's getting dark.
Ready? Count you.
Let's just give that piece of music a huge round of applause.
Thanks to everybody for joining in the spirit of that. Okay, let's put a little structure on it, Gary. What do you reckon?
Fair play to everyone who came up with
Yes,
the mic.
massive
Well done.
respect. Give them a big
Well
round of applause. That's bravery, that's creativity. Face that moment. Nice. Okay.
Do you know what? How much time have we got? We got 5 minutes.
Oh, we've got, yeah, definitely we got 5 minutes, if not more.
One of the things I used to do, I still do it sometimes. I go into schools in London with this setup. So basically, loop station, and you all know what that is now: live recording, and a guitar, and being mental, and I work with kids in this kind of a setting. I say, right, we've half an hour to write a song, and they go, what? And we're going to go through the process that we're going to go to. But just to set the bar, a bunch of kids in Hackney, East London, wrote this in 25 minutes. No pressure.
My friends mean lots to me. They make me so happy. They always chat with me. Me and my friends, you see. My friends are really cool. We play around the school. You'll see us hanging out. You'll hear us
F-R-I-E-N-D-S.
shout. F-R-I-E-N-D-S.
Always there, forget the rest. F-R-I-E-N, the very best.
F-R-I-E-N-D-S. F-R-I-E-N-D-S. Always there, forget the rest. All my friends are very best.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Let's give a round of
Round of
applause for the
applause
kids
again.
in Hackney. So, they've set the bar then.
The bar is set, dudes.
Yeah.
You gotta meet it.
We're gonna have to. I want to see some super Google achievers get up here and write some songs. All right. I reckon if I can put a framework on it, it's like, let's write a theme song for this space, or write a theme song for the Spark sessions. What do you say? Does that sound like a good plan? Yes, a hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah? Yeah! That's the right attitude. Correct again. Fantastic. Okay, so if we're writing about Spark sessions, I want you to shout out. What do you reckon, Gary? Get them to shout out things they associate with that?
Yeah, I think we're writing a song here. Song is about spark.
Spark.
Throw words at us. Come on, spark.
Give me words. Spark of what? Sparks.
Excitement.
Excitement. Okay.
Spark is a lark.
Spark is a lark. Okay. Oh, we're getting phrases already. Nice. Okay.
That's verse 2 written.
Yeah. Verse 2. No problem. Brilliant. Yeah. Excitement. I'll say ideas.
I'm gonna put creativity.
Creativity. Yeah.
Making.
Craziness.
Craziness. I heard. Did I hear explosion? Nice. Okay. Lightning. Oh yeah.
Lightning. Where's he gone?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Fantastic, yeah? What else do we got? Any other thoughts? These are going to form the lyrics of our amazing song, or at least the ideas behind it. Any other thoughts on what is Spark? What do Sparks do? What are we doing here tonight? Night, yeah? Okay. Ignite. Oh yeah, now you're talking. All right. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Got it. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Fire. Fuego. Let's do some international lyrics. We're in an international place. Yeah, see, I speak some Spanish. Together. Coming together. Okay. All right. Any last thoughts? Right now. I like that.
Together.
Right now. Okay. Fantastic. So, does anyone fancy taking a shot, or what's the best next thing, Gary? Here
What I would usually do is, this is what the song is about, spark. So what we want here is some kind of a little, let's say, to have a verse and a chorus around spark.
Okay.
And Callie has just blagged himself a free theme tune for his event. Okay, spark. All right, so that's what the song is about. Next thing, with a song, you're looking at a rhythm / tempo. So is it like fast, slow? You're looking at melody, some kind of a tune, and you're looking at words.
Yeah.
So these are the bits, and I need them to use those in the room. Are going, yeah, I know, but that's for people who don't write songs. That's what we're looking at. We're writing a song about spark.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
We talk about
the rhythm.
the rhythm. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good place. The beat, the vibe.
Spark.
Singer-songwriter style.
Can you hear me? Any thoughts on the vibe for spark? Rhythm.
What kind of beat?
Fast, yeah. Upbeat.
More thumping beat, is that what I heard? How do we feel about that?
Come on, rhythm, what
Or
do you
even
want?
somebody give us a beat, like sound it out if you can. Do you have a beat that you want to hear?
Feel free to talk about other musical references.
Yeah, even references.
We are a mashup of what we create, the culture we consume.
Yeah.
Spark. I'm thinking Pharrell Williams type vibe.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that means yet.
And
but
happy hip hop.
happy hip hop.
What did you say? Gust of wind. You want? Oh, the song by Pharrell as opposed to a gust of wind. We can add a gust of wind though. We can do whatever we want with this loop station. That's the beauty of it.
Okay.
Okay. Well then, I think maybe just a very nice. Solid beat that's kind of got a hip hop vibe to it. I think that was what we could go for. Does anyone else have any thoughts on it? Yes? Come on! We're writing it together! Yeah.
We need your ideas, in our consciousness.
You saw myself, Gary, what we wrote already. We can get what you write. Yes?
Can it change? Can it start slow and then build like
Start slow and build, slow and build. I like what you're saying.
Wow.
So maybe like a bit of the singer-songwriter thing and then we kick into a beat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now you're done. Bohemian Rhapsody, like 4 movements. Slow down there, Boaz.
Wow.
Okay.
There's a lane. Oh fudge. Okay.
You okay?
We weren't there. Now we are.
Now we are. That's what we're writing now.
Now
We're going
we-
to start with it.
Now
But I
we
think
are.
we still need to establish our beat because we need to know where we're going with this, right? Don't we?
Okay. Okay. So for the track.
The track,
We're
yeah.
talking it straight down.
I think so.
People happy enough with that?
Yeah.
The intro.
We're
that
all
can
on
be a-
board.
The intro can be a whole other thing. The intro can be a whole other.
Beautiful.
We have to figure out
Sounds
is
good.
the intro going to set the color or is the intro going to build to when the beat comes in? But let's put the beat
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, let's get the beat down. That was amazing. How did you do that?
This thing
It's a
also
magic
has backing
guitar.
tracks. I don't use them.
There we go.
Should we keep that?
Yeah.
I think we might lose it.
Here we go. Undo. Thankfully, it has an undo as well. Okay. Are we writing a happy or a sad song?
Happy. Okay. Does anyone want to brave forth and try what we might have as a chorus for this? Does anyone want to formulate a line over this beat? Is anyone brave enough to step to the mic and try that out?
Are we happy with this groove? That's just came to me. Any objections?
Very good. I think we're getting asking for forgiveness rather than permission kind of vibe. I like it. Okay.
Like the spark. I'm just liking the spark here, people. Come on, give me something. Out of the dark into the spark.
Let's hear it on the mic.
She's sparking all over it.
Yeah,
She's
out of the
sparking all
dark into the spark. I like it. Do we want to try and loop it on the mic? You want to give it a shot? No, you're just writing the lyric. You're writing the lyric, but we need a singer to bring your vision to life. All right, have we got a singer in the room?
Into the spark.
I see a lot of fingers pointing. That's cheeky. That's cheeky.
Into the spark.
Oh.
Out of the dark. Into the spark. I don't got a part. Come on.
Come on. Does anyone want to sing harmony? I can see fingers pointing. That's no good. You can do it. You can do it. Give her a big round of applause. Come on. Come on. Be brave. Be brave. Be brave. You come on. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on up. Sing along with us. That's what this is about. It's about having fun. There's no judgment here.
We nominate ourselves, but as a chorus.
As a chorus, outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going on this one, Gary?
Well, we.
Or
Yeah.
just so that we can hear it?
So I'm really bad. She's really good. I'm just accompanying her. So if you're really bad like me, come join the chorus. If you think
So
you're
what's our lyric here?
Do you have a melody in?
Oh, you have a chorus.
some like
Oh, yeah.
words at all.
Yeah?
It's more ambient.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Alright, let's do it.
the beat back. I'm going to count you in. So after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep singing it. Keep it. Got it.
All right. It's there. It's there. It's
The
there.
spark is-
The spark is still flickering, but we need more. We need fire in this room. So we had a lyric, and that was a verse or a chorus. What do we think? Was that the chorus? It was the first. It was the verse. So what was? It was out of the dark and lighting the spark. Is that right? Out of the dark.
Yeah, it's getting a bit Beck now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm a loser, baby. So light up my spark.
Okay, we've got a chorus, but I think somebody else should
looking where we are.
Okay, let's take stuff.
Let's check out where we are. We've got a beat.
That's my favorite bit so far.
I think the beat's fucking amazing, Cal.
It's a really good beat.
Yeah, it's amazing. Got a
Okay.
kick and it's got a snare.
It's got everything you need in a beat.
Then we have a kind of a bass line thingy. And then we have the choir of no love.
I think we're well on the way to an amazing theme song.
I really like the out of the dark into the spark thing.
Yeah.
Come on, Callie, come on.
Oh, you want me to sing
I
it?
don't know.
Oh, just vibe it, is it?
Just thinking.
Out of the dark, into the spark.
Yeah.
But I liked what you were going for. Go for it.
In the spark.
But I like the kind
I'm
of
gonna blues it up and go. Out of the dark, in the spark.
Yeah. Out of the dark and into the spark.
Papa got soul.
Yeah. It's got coursing through me.
Anybody got anything?
Yeah?
As good as Cal is.
I see you getting ready to get up. Are you ready? You with us?
Do it, man. Do it. Come on. Face the fear. Do it. Do it.
All we need is one line for a verse and one line for a chorus, really, and then we have basically your average pop song. Right? No? Okay. Lindsay and Boaz are ready to give us some. You got something for us?
No, we do that.
Oh, out of the spark into the dark.
Ready?
Out of the dark into the spark.
Ready? I count you in after 4. And a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Out of the dark, into the spark. For the dark,
Doesn't matter, you just made it up.
Okay.
out of the dark, into the spark. Out of the dark.
You're not feeling it?
Do it again.
Go again. You ready?
I'll line you up again.
Creativity is hard sometimes.
That's weird.
Are we having a good time?
Yeah!
I'm having a great time.
Okay, we're going again. I would say something like out of the dark, into the spark. Out of the dark. It's like a soul cross section.
Yeah, I like it.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Out of the dark, into the spark. The dark, into the spark.
All right. We're getting there.
It needs a.
Into the spark.
Oh yeah, can somebody give us a
Who's gonna give
Oh,
us-
we got some more. What would you like? Come on up. Whatever you got to offer, we want to hear it. Whatever you're putting down, we're buying. All right, give a round of applause.
Out of the dark into the spark.
Keep doing it, man. Keep doing it.
Out of the dark into the spark. Out of the dark into the dark. Out of the dark into the dark. Out of the dark
Into the spark.
It's cooking. It's nearly cooked. It's nearly cooked. Still a bit.
Is there anybody who can freestyle hip hop at this point? That would be the most outrageous thing for somebody to
Any
just step up and
MCs in the
go,
room?
I got
Any
this.
MCs?
Check this out. Yo, the spark is happening when I let my nut. That would be amazing. Yes?
Do it. Get on the mic, Gavin.
No? No? Yes? No takers? No hip hoppers in the room? No 8 ballers or shot callers? Okay. That's fine.
I think this is the moment where we go, we wrote a song!
We wrote a song! Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Gary Dunne and thanks to all of you!
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So much. We'll be here to hang around. Thank you to you all. Thanks to the Cloud9 team for putting this together. And thanks to all of you for coming out. This is about community. It's about creativity. Go forth and create. Good night, everybody.